Hi all, so welcome to the live stream here. So this is going to be a chill hangout stream, looking at some things on Veve and also going over some things in the marketplace. So first of all, I'd love to hear how people have done today on the marketplace. Did you get a drop? Unfortunately, I wasn't successful in getting that drop today. I missed out on the Batman drop. And what I'll do is, first of all here, so this is what today's drop looked like here. It's Batman versus Killer Croc. I think it's an amazingly detailed statue. Very pleased with it all. And I think anyone who's got it or picked it up did very well. If I move over quickly just now back to the actual app, and we can sort of see here, if we go in the marketplace, and hopefully it should mirror back up now. Yes, if we go in the marketplace, I see just over 500 for sale on the marketplace. I think at one point the floor was sitting at about 2k, and at the moment it's sitting at about 1.6k. And for me, there's a couple of things here. First of all, I noticed a few people are selling it for under 1,000 gems. So someone flipping quite quickly there. And now obviously people have picked it up, holding it for a bit longer term gains here. I could see this going much higher than it is just now. But I was surprised how quickly it got to that 1.5, 1.6k value. It's not even been 8 hours yet since it dropped, and it's already sitting there. So I think this is one to watch out for the future. I also think that potentially people could sell us off. People, in my opinion, tend to sell DC collectibles first before they sell anything else, or anything that's got that kind of only 2.5% fee. So it could be a case that we'll see this kind of dip in the future as we have future drops planned and announced to come out. People might sell this off and take the gems, take the profit, and put it into something else. So if I go back to Twitter here, so this was today's drop, the statue. If we kind of scroll down a bit here, and look, this is the other drop that was announced, the Mickey and Friends collection. So for you who don't know, that's Minnie Mouse on the cover. And if I click on the actual tweet itself, you can sort of see here, someone asked about it being what kind of drop it was. Someone thinking it was a poster, and I believe so someone got these look like posters, am I right? And then the official response from Veve was of sorts. So it is a kind of a poster, but maybe it's something special, maybe it's animated. Who knows yet? There's nothing that's came out that I'm aware of to give us any kind of updates on what this actually is. I do know that National Polka Dot Day was the 22nd, so it was yesterday. So I've no idea when this will drop. It might be next Saturday, who knows? But it's one worth keeping an eye out for here. It'd be interesting to see what actual this does, if it is just a poster or something more than what we've seen just now. So very interested to see this. I wouldn't say I'm excited for it. I'm not a huge Minnie Mouse fan. Again, one of those things I'll be going for on the drop itself, but I won't be looking to kind of pick that up on the secondary market. What I'll be doing is look to kind of pick up other drops on the marketplace that I find would be useful to have. And for me, one of the things I found quite a good one to pick up in the past has been the collectible from the Harley Quinn DC Bombshells collection. Sorry, my connection to the stream keeps going here. So this is what I picked up in the past. I picked it up for around about 200 gems in the past. Sold it recently for about 250 gems. No, sorry, 280 gems minus the fee. Use those gems to then buy it back at 209, and now sitting back at 250. So I've noticed the price now going up and down quite a lot, but I do think it's a very nice model, and I think even at 300 gems, this is hugely underrated, and I think it was something worth a lot more in the future. So definitely want to keep an eye out here. So I'm just going to catch up in the chat here as well whilst that downloads. So yeah, it's my birthday, so thank you very much for the happy birthday, everyone. Had a great day, very enjoyable, and got spoiled by my girlfriend and the kids, which was great. Only thing that could make it even better would be if I'd got the drop today, but unfortunately I didn't, but I'm not going to let that spoil my fun. Thank everyone for happy birthday. So that's an interesting question here. Do I think mini could be 101s with slight variation? Veve mentioned 101s coming at some point. So I'll go back to the Twitter page for that one. Yeah, so there's not a huge amount of detail on this here. I'm going to click on the hashtag to see if anybody else is tweeting about it. So yeah, I think it could be 101s. It is potential for doing that. Also, obviously, the mini thing is quite a popular thing going on. So what I think it could be is something to do with the actual polka dots themselves. It could be some sort of variation around the pattern. Perhaps she'll be in different poses, and that'll be the correction itself. So it could also be, I think, animated. So rather than being 101, it might just be like a normal drop with a few thousand correctables, and it's actually the fact that the poster itself is animated, and that's where the uniqueness will come from. Yeah, so 101s, I think Veve have mentioned they are coming at some point. But I don't think it'll be necessarily for this one. I think they'll probably announce it more for an artist. I think 101s would be more useful as an artist, and also I don't think the corporations, Disney, Marvel, etc., or DC, would want 101s because they're kind of tied into Veve for the amount of money we can make from it in terms of lots of collectibles. We know from a recent AMA that there's been a big push from the corporations to have more collectibles, increase the mint size, the ones for etc., because they feel they get more money that way. And there's been a bit of pushback from Veve to say actually it might be more useful to keep it smaller and make money off of secondary transactions in the future that way. Yeah, so Harley Quinn is there's quite a few collectibles of Harley Quinn. I think her and Batman probably tied for this different number of collectibles. So she appears in Batman Black and White, she appears in the DC Bombshells set, and she also appears in her own Red, Black and White set, series 1 and 2. So it's quite a popular character. She first came to light in 1992 on the Batman animated series, so she's quite unique that she's a character that started first off in the cartoon, but then transitioned to comics, rather than starting off in the comics and going to a cartoon. So I think anything you can pick up Harley Quinn, I would hold for the long term. Personally, I've got the first appearance of Harley Quinn, Black and White. I'll bring up for you just now to show. So I've also got the DC Bombshells one here. I think she's down the bottom because she's a common. No, she's up here. So I picked up originally for 232 gems. I think the highest I've seen her go in the market at the high point was about 1.2k gems, and currently she's just sitting under 1k gems just now. So I definitely think she's one to watch, and she has one. Excuse me. She has one that will increase in value over time because she's got a FA appearance, and also, as I mentioned, I do think people tend to sell DC off first just because it's a less of a fee, so more of a profit, and cheaper to kind of buy back in the future. So a lot of times you'll see people sell Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn, Batman, etc., particularly if they've got duplicates, and then buy it back at a cheaper point once they've took the profits and use the profits to kind of invest in other collectibles. So that's an interesting one there from Swigglestick. It could be a Valentine's card. So let's just take a wee look here on Twitter. Yeah, so this could be a Valentine's card. So I'll try and zoom in a wee bit here on the actual image. Yeah, so it could be. It would be interesting if we had something tied in with a holiday event like that. So if I look at the calendar here, Valentine's obviously is the 14th of February. That's a Monday. So we could potentially drop this on the 12th, which is a Saturday, if we want to go down that route, or we could do it on a different day entirely. So again, good possibility it could be a Valentine's Day promotion as well. Again, at this point, it's just speculation, and we don't really know what's true and what's not. But really do appreciate for people who have joined us so far. We're just kind of talking to Veve, chatting about how things have been going on for us. So please let me know in the chat, is there anything you want to talk about in particular, or share any successes or any fails you've had on Veve. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button on the video. It really does help me out and promote this to other people out there. Yeah, so one of the things I was talking about, it could be animated. I think we're due for a bit more animated 2D work, and I think the kind of style of this presentation here for Mini is a good way of doing animation that is very, very cheap to produce. It's not a 3D animated collectible, just 2D stills animated together very quickly to kind of produce some movement. Again, it'd be interesting to see once they release more details about Mickey and Friends, what this will mean. Is it just going to be this one drop? Is it part of a set? I notice here we've used the same wording as is used for Steamboat Willie, where it's an NFT collection, it's not a digital collectible. We specifically mentioned it as being an NFT. So I think at very least we could expect a couple of variations on this Minnie Mouse drop, if not a whole bunch of new other information in terms of characters and things like that. Possibilities could be it's animated, it could be a card, could be some sort of poster that's animated. We just don't know at this stage. But I do think it would be interesting to see what Veve are doing in terms of pushing the envelope and kind of promoting things further and further. I kind of felt myself in the past when the posters that they're not as popular as other collectibles on the marketplace. That might just be because of the brands behind it. You know, it was 007, Bill and Ted, Back to the Future posters. I don't think that would hold true if this was a Disney poster. I do think that would do a lot better than the posters we've had so far on the marketplace. And potentially, depending on the number in the set here, could be a fairly easy one to complete and get the master collector points if you want to do that. Welcome everyone in the chat here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Veve do like to keep us on our toes, like to kind of mix things up. We've also got this upcoming drop system at some point in the future, which will mean potentially it'd be a raffle system. You can maybe use tickets to get into it. We don't know yet when that'll be, but it did say it would be tested out on a few drops first. So I don't know if I would want to test it out the first time on a potentially big drop like Disney. I think you probably want to test it in a bit of a smaller drop first, get a grip in terms of numbers, and then test it out further on a larger drop once you feel confident about how it works with smaller numbers, first of all. I'm going to go back to the old marketplace here on the app and just to kind of see what's been going on with some of the things here. So for me, a couple of things I've been keeping an eye on here is the Batman Hurras, or Batman 89 as he's known. And the reason being, he is the only other FA Batman on the app apart from Todd. And shout out to Brendan Z, who actually donated this collectible to me, I think on my first live stream, so thank you very much. So already the prices shot back up. It was about 320 gems when I checked earlier today. And now we can see it's sitting at about just under 500 gems. And you can see a lot of people here that are kind of selling off and trying to take some profit here. I still think, given it's an FA Batman, it's still underpriced at 500 gems and could easily go for a lot more than 500 gems. I think at some point we'll see us hitting 1k and beyond. And the reason why this, I think, could be popular for two reasons. First of all, the kind of history of this character. It's a combination of Batman and the Joker combined in an alternate reality. So it's quite an interesting, quite a unique looking collectible on the app. And the second reason is actually this appeared on Fortnite as like a DLC skin you could wear in game for picking up the comic or for getting the code. So there's a lot of interest out there in this looking character. So potentially, as more people get on the app, they discover this character, and the price could go up. Now it is quite a high mint, and it is also part of season 5. Yes, so 16,800, and it's part of series 5 of Batman Black and White. So that definitely could be one to watch in the future. Again, not financial advice, just like to kind of see what's going on the app there. So just catch up with chat. Yeah, Valentine's Day card. So Swiggle Stick's got somebody else, Joe here. Also thinks it could be potentially a Valentine's card. I think that'd be a good shout. I definitely think we'll be able to kind of explore different ways of making money on the app. So we have talked about other collectibles There's also that tweet I showed earlier where it was talking about it's kind of like posted, it said in an official reply to someone, but not the same. Yeah, so it could be a Valentine's theme from the card. Let's have a look here. So yeah, no, my Batman Who Laughs. I sold all three of mine. Epic fail, but I bought them at 56 gems. As and he in Fortnite as well. Yeah, he appears in Fortnite as well. Yeah, if you bought the comic, I think that was only in America, might be in the UK as well. But if you bought the Foundation comic, you get the skin for free in Fortnite. So I think as we get more people who kind of discover Veve, get on the app, they'll want to kind of pick up these things. They kind of have, the kind of matching things. You kind of have the skin in Fortnite and the collectible in 3D and the comic, etc. So I could definitely see that happening in the future. There. Yeah, I really wish I'd picked up more of these when they're going cheap. I think at one point we were selling for about 60, 70 gems on the marketplace. But you never learn. You never know until you try. And personally, I never regret anything I've done on Veve. Sometimes you've got to sell things when you need the gems in order to pick up other things. So I don't particularly feel bad about that. And neither should anyone else, in my opinion. For me, it's just what can you earn? What can you apply to the future? Personally, for myself, I'm going to be holding on to as many of my collectibles as possible. Just because I think that overall, whatever you're paying just now for a collectible will just go up in the future. Another one I think swept on as well is Storm. So she is a first appearance character, and she'll potentially be in upcoming Marvel films. There's been some chat about her appearing in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, and X-Men have been confirmed for appearing in an upcoming MCU project at some point. So they're definitely going to be there at some point. It's just a case of when. More than likely, Storm will be a part of that. And I can see here, I picked this up at 39 gems, so below cost at the time she dropped. And now she's sitting at just over 100 gems on the marketplace. And she is FA. Now, she's not the iconic, I would say, not the iconic version of the character, but she is still FA. And I think this will be one of those ones that people in a year's time or less will be thinking, I really wish I picked it up when she was at 100 gems, rather than potentially 1k gems in a year from now, which could be. I mean, if you look at things like Ultraman, if you look at Batman Who Laughs, things like that, they're just going for a lot of money because people realise the importance of having the FA tag on popular characters. And once Storm is more popular again in the kind of pop culture world of being on an X-Men movie, being part of another MCU project, whether it's a Disney Plus show or something else, it's just one of those things we're going to look out and see. So obviously I don't have the gems to pick up everything. So I'm trying to kind of pick up the FAs of popular characters and kind of hold on to them for as long as possible. And again, another one that I think everyone knows is popular is the Spider-Man. Now he dipped, I think, to about 850 gems before today's drop. So I'll be interested to see where he's at just now. Yes, he's gone up slightly. So you can see that I've got him for 310. He's now at 955. And it's only 4 away from being over 1k again. So I think, again, because this is a common and there's over 32,000 editions, this is one of those ones that people stack and then sell at a high and buy back at a low. So you might see this price fluctuate up and down, similar to what we see with Wonder Woman. So we'll go back to Wonder Woman here. We can see that her price is at around 1,300. So she originally was 50 gems, common, kind of floated about the 500 gems mark for a while, and then up to 1k. I think at one point she's at 1.5k, 1.5k, and now you can see here she's down to about 1.3k. So again, people just feeling kind of confident at selling at a high and think they can buy back. Again, it's DC, so people feel a bit more bullish around selling DC stuff at a high because it's only at 2.5% fee, and they can make a lot of potential profit in terms of gems, and they kind of buy them back. Yeah, I'm just going to bring this up here. So I'm not a huge fan of sorry, I don't spend a lot of time buying comics. I just don't have the gems, and any gems I get from a comic drop, I put into collectibles. So I don't hold any comics at the moment. But I do think they are worthwhile if you have a gems picking up and can hold them for a while. The price will just go up over time. But Uncle Always here has been talking about picking up uncommon comics. At the moment, uncommon seems to be almost at the same price, if not less, than the common comics. So potentially a good way of stacking up on the upcoming comics as well as existing comics. So again, if you look at my vault here, you can see I don't actually own any comics just now. I have sold them all off. But I do know that some of the popular comics to kind of pick up are first appearances of characters, Spider-Man, and also the New Mutants one, Marvel #1, etc. So lots of popular ones. I know I unfortunately didn't get a single comic this week from the 6 drops. Just one of those things. But I do think comics will be ripe for an increase as soon as we have the ability to display comics in the vault, which you have said will be coming. I can see them shooting up in price, if not before. I think people are kind of realizing the value of comics, and what I found is more people come into the app. I think recent stats were saying like 1.5 million gems a day, and as people come into the app, they can't buy the things they want because they go out of reach. So we decide to invest in something else. So we might go for a comic or another collectible. And you'll see this quite often. We'll see the first appearance go up in value. Then if there's a second appearance or a third appearance, etc., of that character, those people who can't afford the first appearance will move to the second appearance or the third appearance. So we'll see the Batman statues go up as part of sets. We'll see Harley Quinn go up, etc. And we'll see, I think, comics go up in time as well, as people realise these are quite low-mint NFTs and quite popular and quite useful. I can definitely see people showing off their collection in the future. And maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's like wallpaper, or enlarging the comic to be the size of a wall. Maybe it's more of a display case, display rack where you can sort of go in and view it. And thinking longer term, potentially years down the line when we have some sort of metaverse set up, you could almost have like a comic book store with your NFTs that people can go in and read the comics, and you can either read it for free, or you can maybe charge them, or you can maybe rent out your comics to people as well, so you can actually own that NFT version of that comic. So I'd be curious to know what people in the chat think. Have they been picking up comics? Do they hold comics? What kind of comics are you keeping an eye on just now? Knowledge drops when I have got comics. I think the best I ever did was an uncommon for the the Batgirl comic that dropped, Tales of Suspense. Let's go. Yeah, thanks for streaming. I don't know how long I'll plan to stream for, maybe another 20 minutes or so, and see how it goes. And thank you everyone for joining. Do appreciate it. Thanks for the birthday wishes. So let's see, you have about 4k worth of gems. Anything that I would recommend? I was thinking of Wonder Woman or anything else in general, blue chips, etc. So that's a good question. So let's take a look at I always find it easy to go into the marketplace for my collectibles first. So I would definitely see any first appearance of popular characters. So with 4k, you've got a few good choices. You do have Wonder Woman. You do have, I think, Supergirl as well as a first appearance. And as things like Hawk Girl as well, which I think is still underrated, which you could easily pick up. So 400 gems for Hawk Girl. So you can pick up one or two of her and stack her. Like I mentioned, I don't know if you were here when I talked about Harley Quinn, but she's just sitting at under 1k. Just now 950 she's there. So that's definitely ones. If I had 4k of gems, I'd probably have to pick up another Harley Quinn and another Wonder Woman. It really just depends on what you've got in your collection just now and how many gems you have going forward in the future. So once you spend that 4k, is that you 0 gems ongoing? Will you put more gems in the app in the future? Because I always recommend having gems, not just for the drop, but also to pick up anything that comes up on the secondary market. So Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn FA, potentially the FA Hawk Girl. As I mentioned, again, I don't know if you were here, I was talking about the other FA appearance of Batman Who Laughs, sitting at about just under 500 gems there. So a few choices there. It depends really what your tastes are. Personally, I prefer collectibles over comics. and I prefer kind of popular characters, as I said, over anything else, over decon or art or stuff. It's not anything better than the other. It's just I always kind of think you should be correcting what you enjoy. I don't really see this as an investment. You know, I see I've spent money. It's great if it's worth more in the future. I'm not planning to make money on this. I'm not counting making money at some point in the future. Other ones that are worth noting as well. This is another FA of Batman's son, Damian Wayne. And it's currently sitting at 315 gems there. Again, undervalued. I think as more people get into the app, as Damian Wayne makes his appearance at some point in the future, he'll be more popular. And another one that's worth checking out is actually Batgirl. So, funny enough, Batgirl has been shot. It's about 20 miles from where I stay in Glasgow, and she is using the same costume in that film as she has in the app on here. So I'm just going to go to the wish list here. Yeah, so you notice that costume she's wearing here, the kind of bright purple and yellow. She's wearing that similar costume in an upcoming film. So I think, again, once people kind of see that and that kind of becomes part of the pop culture, people are discussing it, will kind of see us go up in value. A thing to always bear in mind is when we're talking about a collectible like this, it is a common and it has about 13,800 editions. And often what happens at the start is you get a few people buying a lot of these editions and stacking up on those collectibles and then selling them at some point in the future for profit. And what it really means is people are kind of seeing high points, selling, dip down, and back up again. So you just really have to wait till things go down to a dip. So often they dip. I've noticed on a Wednesday we can dip, but also before a big drop as well, like today, we can dip as well. So if you are wanting to kind of spend those 4K, I'd wait till there's a dip in the market and pick up then. If you're quick, you might still get a few deals just now, but I do notice things going up even in the past few hours. I've been checking the marketplace. So great question. So thank you for that. I'm just jumping ahead here. What's the correct Dundee? Yeah, I'm from Greenock. If you're in Scotland here. So if you are able to kind of put up with my accent, thank you for that. I'm doing my best here. So yeah, another thing I want to look at on the marketplace here is Ultraman. So Ultraman's been one of those ones that have kind of skyrocketed in the past week or so, as news comes in that potentially the Asian market will be opened up to Veve and he'll have people on the app. So that's gone down slightly from where it was. I think this was sitting around about 700 gems, but again, we are in that point of people selling off for today's drop, and now the price will slightly go back up as time progresses. So let's see what's the commons sitting at in the marketplace for this. So I do like the common. So to kind of point out as well, the Ultraman you see here is not the original Ultraman. It's actually the son of Ultraman. It's based on the Netflix anime about 2 years ago. So yeah, the price has gone down slightly here as well. So again, sorry, worth bearing in mind when you do sort of invest in things, do a bit of research, whether it's going on YouTube, going on Google, just kind of see what's happening out there and kind of figure out what it is people get hyped about. Is it actually something to get hyped about, or is there some misinformation out there, some FUD going out there? So do kind of check out there and think before buying and committing to anything. Ideally, when you notice through my correction there, I've only got one-offs because that's all I can afford just now with what I put into the app. But ideally, I'd be able to kind of double up a couple of these first appearances and use them in the future to kind of sell and take profit on. So you can see I've got 2 of the Harley Quinn Darks, which I think is undervalued. I've also got 2 of the Sue Storm. And probably will pick up another Deadpool at some point in the future as well. Yeah, so interestingly, if Hawk Girl is part of a set with Wonder Woman. So I already had Hawk Girl and I already had Wonder Woman that I picked up. So I was looking at prices for Supergirl and for Batgirl, and at the time they were quite cheap. So I paid just under 100 gems for Supergirl second appearance. She's already set at 180 gems, so kind of almost doubled what I paid there. And if you notice as well, the mint number for her, and what I picked up was mint number 0949. So I got her actually when the floor was about 80 gems, but I went for that kind of zero, the front of the mint number, because I do think I will go for a bit more. And since I had her for so cheap, I decided I had to kind of pick up Batgirl on the scooter here. And again, this is just purely based on my speculation. I think the FAs of these characters, Supergirl and Batgirl, will go up first. And once that gets too high for a lot of people, we'll look to invest in the second and third and fourth appearance of those characters, etc. So that's why I picked up Supergirl and Batgirl. So I got her for 64 gems. She's currently sitting at just under 100 gems. And the edition I got here was 1904, which is a year. Nothing particularly related to Batgirl, 1904. But I do think if you're going to pick something up, try and go for some sort of special mint number if possible. So by doing that, I've completed the set for the DC Artist Alleyway. So I've got all 4 characters in that set. So quite happy with that. We'll be getting the MCP points for that. I'm not a huge fan of collecting sets. I've only got 2, I believe, in the app. I've got that one and the Voltron set. Again, big fan of the Voltron anime. So I had to get that on drop. So yeah, I think at this moment, Kaylee, whatever you pick up will hold value and will increase in value over time. It just depends on how quickly you want to see that value and if you want to realise those gains, potential gains, as quickly as possible. So anything with that 2.5% fee, DC, etc., you'll see a potential quick rise in prices. You can sell off, take the gems, invest in something else, or you can sort of hold for the long term. I do think people are wary of selling via Marvel stuff, simply because you do get taxed more. Not taxed, sorry, you do get a fee for selling here. So again, bought into the second appearance of Captain America. Went for a very decent number, 08604. Paid just under 100 gems. Already doubled in value on the marketplace. If I show you just now, if I go to sell this on the marketplace, don't worry, I won't actually sell it. I'll sell it for a buy now price. And let's just say for convenience, I'll sell it for 1,000 gems. If I confirm that, you can see there, I'm losing 85 gems straight away of that 1,000 gems. Whereas if that was a DC character or a DC property I was selling, then it'd only be 25 gems I'd be losing and not 85 gems. So I'll go to Wonder Woman here. And don't worry, again, I won't be selling her. I'll just show you an example here. If I put her for 1,000 gems and I go confirm, you can see it's only 25 gems there. So straight away, difference of 60 gems. And that can make a lot of difference if you're selling at a high and buying back at a low. Potentially that could be half your profits wiped out because of that fee from selling from Marvel or DC. So I do look to kind of pick up other characters that are popular, second appearances. So you can see here I've got Sue, got the second version of Sue Storm, Invisible Girl. And again, I'll be able to kind of pick up, just as I make gems, pick up other duplicates of these characters. Now, one of the things that I'm thinking about is maybe selling off one of my collectibles at the next high point. You know, getting maybe 2k gems for something. So I could potentially get 2k for Wonder Woman, or I get 2k here for Homer and Bart. Quite interestingly, this was back during the golden moment, straight after the drop. I was able to pick this up on the marketplace. You can see there for 67 gems, which is a steal, and currently sitting at just 1,800 gems just now on the marketplace. But I have seen this go for about 2.2k gems on the marketplace. So I'm tempted at sometimes to sell something like this, and just to have the gems can then stack up on other things. You know, I could sell this one and then buy into Wonder Woman, etc. Obviously, if I'm selling at a high point, I wouldn't be buying at that point. I'd be keeping the gems and waiting until I dip and buying into dip at that point then. So if I just show you a statue, this was the very first Golden Moments drop on Veve. It's also the first to have 2 characters on it, Homer and Bart. And finally, it's one of only 2, the other one being the skateboard, that's actually got a signature on the base. So I think for me, longer term, what will hold value, other than first appearances and things like that, are things that you can sort of have a story around. So you can sort of decide to people, this has been the very first golden moment drop. I know there's a lot of debate about, you know, is the first Disney drop Spider-Man, is oh, is it Ultraman? Is it this one? Is it Elsa? Would have actually been by Disney? But you can't argue with the fact that this is the very first Golden Moments drop. So for me, that's an interesting story. Something that will help kind of raise the value at some point in the future. Obviously, Simpson is still, I think, hugely popular, still running after 30 years. It's 35 years, I think. So it's almost as old as me. I'm 37. So very interesting to kind of look to see what this does. But sometimes when I see it going for 2k gems, I do think, well, I could sell it, use the gems, and then potentially buy it back at a lower point. I'd be interested to know what people's thoughts are in the chat. I'll just stop sharing just now. Would you do that yourselves? Would you sell things at a high point and buy back at a low point? Or would you just hold on to things regardless? I'm always wary about selling at things at a potential high point because you don't actually know if it is a high point or if it will keep going up. And you never know, you might sell it and not be able to buy back in because the prices keep going up with your means to kind of pick up on. I'm just going to catch up in the comments here. Yeah, orange bag ready. Oh, you're from Ireland? Great stuff. Yeah. I think I've watched a few videos actually. I think one was a live stream I did. Enjoyed it and could hear what you're saying fine. Yeah, so when did I first hear about Veve and crypto? So I suppose that first point would be crypto. I've heard about that, years ago, but I never really kind of took much interest in it. I kind of felt it was one of those things that was beyond my means to kind of get involved with, to know kind of technical stuff of it. So in terms of actually buying crypto, it was about October last year. It's when I actually kind of bought some ECOMI on Bitforex and also picked up a couple of pounds worth of Bitcoin and ETH. I'm talking about, in total across all three, about £200 worth, which is not a huge amount. Really just for me to kind of test it out. And I've probably invested more into Veve than I have into crypto. And it's really about the same time, so it was October. I first heard about Veve. I was actually watching a live stream, Den of Nerds. We were talking about pop culture and upcoming spoilers for Spider-Man at the time. And the person doing the live stream paused to kind of do the drop for Veve. And he was sort of talking about how he has plans for his channel is to develop his own NFTs in the future. And also from Veve was this kind of great app. People should be encouraged to kind of check it out. So I downloaded it there and then. I had to read about it. Still didn't really understand it at the time, like the value of it. It wasn't really until probably just before the golden moments where I actually started to understand how valuable some of the collectibles were and how I kind of missed out opportunities, like I said, around Batman Who Laughs. Could have picked it up for a lot less. Same with Batgirl and Catwoman. But like I say, I'm happy where I am in terms of what I've got for what I put in. So maybe a few £100 I've put into the app and stopped. And for me, it's just been buying and selling and flipping things up. I think at one point my account was sitting at about 11k in terms of gems. And obviously that's gone down recently. I think it's back down to about 8k. But it's just one of those things. I'm really enjoying it. Not doing it as a money making thing. Just doing it purely as like a hobby, as an interest. And also at the same time, I'd already started doing videos on pop culture. But as soon as I started talking about Veve, I just really found it very enjoyable, and my channel kind of skyrocketed, got much more subscribers, much more views, my videos that I was producing. So I really kind of doubled down on Veve and just sort of providing content on it. It's been such a good community. It's been really good listening to people's live streams, videos, and just talking to people on Discord and on Twitter Spaces. So it's been really enjoyable. So yeah, I've been in it since about October. So obviously people out there have been in it much longer than I have and much more knowledgeable. But I think the thing about Veve is you can just join today and get a drop, and you have a potential of getting something in a drop, pick up something cheap in the marketplace, or even just pick something up and holding it and gain value over time. So I always think the best time to be in is yesterday. If not, next best time is today. Yeah, what support for you in the chat? Yeah, that's one of my fears as well, is just selling and missed out and then not being able to get back into it. So that's why I'd always prefer having at least two, because you can sell one and at least you still have one to hold for the long term. So yeah, definitely if I had the opportunity, I would hold at least two FAs of everything that I could. Obviously, that's not always possible, but I do wish I kind of went back and picked up more of the Wonder Woman at the time when we were sitting around about 200 to 300 gems in the marketplace there. But like I say, you have to learn, and just keep that in mind for the future for upcoming drops, upcoming FAs. Very interested to see the next FA character. That's DC or Marvel. Obviously, we had Killer Croc today, but he's, in my opinion, not a hugely popular character. Be interested to see when we have things like Green Lantern or Wolverine on the X-Men side of things. So definitely interested to see what happens there. Welcome, Scarlett. How you doing? So I'm probably going to go for another couple of minutes here. It's in the UK, it's 20 to 11 at night. I have been celebrating today, so I do want to kind of call it a night at some point and get ready for work tomorrow, because I do work full time as well as doing videos and watching what's going on in Veve. I know a lot of time it feels like a full-time job in itself, keeping up to date with what's going on Veve. So one of the things I wanted to kind of just check in on before going is, I'll just bring up first of all before I share my screen, is on Twitter, for people who don't know, there's a lot of good people you should be following, not just Veve official, but other people who provide sort of insights and provide kind of opportunities to learn what's going on. Yeah, so on Twitter here, this is where I kind of go into from time to time and just kind of check to see what's going on. And it's good for kind of living out. She's part of kind of the Veve farm, has some sort of insider knowledge as well, and sometimes shares it or does things on Twitter. Quite often you do have to kind of join a Twitter space to kind of hear. Good thing is, well, you can also play it back if you miss out on the actual recording. Another person that I tend to follow and kind of keep an eye on their tweets is Veve. He's quite a good advice in terms of things that are undervalued on the marketplace. Yeah, so that's an interesting point there. I kind of noticed that as well. I think when would that happen? That kind of the days of buying things cheap and selling them for profit in the marketplace, I think are gone. I think you will now see the list price for things starting closer to 1k gems for 100 gems in the marketplace, just due to people being more knowledgeable on the app and more people on the app willing to pay that kind of price straight away. And really, just Twitter's a good place to kind of find people, make connections, and see what's been happening and what's been popular. I'm just going to check the chat to see if there's any final questions. So I'm going to call it there, guys. So thank you very much for joining me on my birthday stream. I do plan, hopefully, to do more streaming in the future. Do find it quite good to kind of chat with people in real time. And of course, I'll still do a mixture of talking on videos and sharing it up in the future. So do, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment afterwards to kind of let me know what you want to cover in a future live stream or in a future video. But thank you all for joining me on my birthday and for the birthday wishes. Hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you, and I'll end the stream just now.